So we're going to talk about what we thought about coaching before we started, because we all had fears, and then kind of how those fears have changed and what we know now that we're coaching. So I'm going to throw it to Tiffany to start off the fear convo.
Hey guys, so before I started coaching, I was like, this is a scheme. Like, I watched Paige for a couple weeks, and then she was like, have you ever thought about this? I'm like, yes, but I think it's just a big pyramid scheme, and it seems like it's way too good to be true. I think that people will judge me, and I think that it's just not worth my time, and there's no way that at-home workouts can work, and being friends with people online, like, that's how you get murdered. Like, that was my thought, like being judged, getting murdered, things like that. And so 8 months later, whenever I finally was like, okay, yeah, whatever, like, let's do this. What's the worst that could happen? So I haven't gotten murdered, and I have became really good friends with, a lot of the people that we coach with on our team, not only just Lauren and Paige, but there's a whole slew of girls on our team. So it's, that's really cool. But also, it's not a pyramid scheme. So yes, it is a multi-level marketing company. Just being like totally transparent in that. But I'm just going to be totally honest. I was a part of another MLM. And the difference between this and that is that this can actually change people's lives in more way than just like selling you a product, because this isn't about like pushing products on people. This is not about trying to get people to buy into something for the benefit of yourself. It's literally getting people to improve their own lives and their own health and literally being the best person that they can be. And if you've seen any of my posts, like, you would see like why I believe that way. And it's because it has changed my life so much, which I will talk about a little bit more. But I mean, and as far as like people judging, my sister was like the biggest skeptic. Whenever I first started, she was like, that is so stupid. I can't believe you're doing that. And it's been about a year and a half now. And she told me a couple weeks ago, because we just had a conversation about it. She was like, I know that it's an MLM, and I'm still not like the biggest fan of that, but I have seen what it has done for your life, and it works for you. So I support you like in what you're doing. So it's like, you can't make decisions about your health because or based on the judgment of others. So, Lauren.
Okay, I'm going to take over. I am Lauren, and just a little background on me. I have been coaching for a little over a year and a half. I started following Paige in October, November, and then I started coaching in February. And in between that time, so that 4-month range, I asked Paige, my mentor coach, about 4 billion questions because I had so many fears. I was worried or wondering about the money to initially start. I'm a teacher, so I was like, what are people going to think about me online? Can I work out in my sports bra? A big fear I had was, is it even going to work for me? I had tried so many other different things, and I was like, how is this going to be any different? Like I said, what will people think of me, whether that was my husband, my sister, friends, because of course, as a teacher and just as someone that cares about what other people think, I asked a lot of questions and just said, what would you think of this? Should I do this? Should I try it out? And then, like Tiffany said, I said, is it a scam? Like, can this really work? What is this money going towards? Things like that. But I have been a coach for a year and a half, and I've grown in so many ways, not just physically, but also emotionally and mentally and spiritually. And I will touch more base on that later, but those were some of my initial fears. I'll keep it short for you guys.
Okay, so if you are like, okay, I have no idea what they do, just in short, what we do is we follow Beachbody's workout programs and meal plans. We share them online, and we help, or in real life too, and we help other people change their lives through those programs. So if you were confused about that, that's what we do. My fears were very specific. I really had 2 main ones, and the first one was, am I going to lose money? Because the second my mentor told me I'd have to invest each month, I was like, oh no, like, what if I can't make that back? Like, there's no way I can keep this up if I don't make my money back. And then my second really big fear was, what would people think? And that was such a weird fear for me to have, because I'm not really that person to wonder, like, what do they think of me, and let it impact my decisions. However, putting yourself out there on the internet is a lot different. And mostly I was scared of being like another one of those girls who's just selling something, because I have been annoyed by those girls. So I'm like, how can I do this whenever I've been annoyed by that? And how can I make it look different so I'm not that girl, and so I'm not known as the girl who's selling things online? So the losing money thing, honestly, I think that's what pushed me to be successful. My mentor told me I had to help 3 people a month and I wouldn't lose money. So I helped 3 people a month, and I have every single month, because I was so driven at the beginning to be successful, and I had a skeptical husband. So I knew that I had to share consistently and help people in order to make sure that my fear of losing money didn't happen. And then what will people think of me? I asked them. Like, I don't know any better way than to just call the people you love and say, this is what I'm thinking about. I literally was like, would this be weird? Like, what would you think? And I have very supportive people in my life. I called the people who I figured would support me, just because I needed that little bit of affirmation of like, yes, go for it. And every single one of my friends and family members said, go for it. Like, you can do it in a way that isn't like that. And I will never forget one of my very best friends. She was like, if you just show up as you and you're silly and you show who you really are, like, people are not going to be annoyed, and they're probably going to be really attracted to what you're doing. And the thing is, this is different. Like Tiffany was saying, I've never done another MLM, but MLMs get a bad name when people push a product that doesn't change lives. And for me, we're not pushing a product. It's actually changed our lives, and that's why we share about it. We don't share about it to make a quick buck. Yes, it is a huge benefit. I wouldn't do this if I didn't get paid, because I put a lot of time and energy into it. But we're pushing something that improves lives, and that is completely different to me. So the next topic we all want to talk about is how coaching has changed our health, because that's a humongous deal, and that's a really cool thing about what we get to do and get paid to do. So Tiffany?
Okay, so for me, I did a lot of sports in high school, was always super, super active. And then I got to college and I ate all of the Panda Express and all of the ice cream every single day because it was there and it's delicious. And why wouldn't you want to eat it? Well, I ended up gaining 60 pounds whenever I was in college. And that was really hard for me because I had always been like a medium, like average size, like no big deal. And then I was getting to where I had to buy plus size clothing, and that was devastating. I was like, what? But it still wasn't devastating enough that I decided it took a while for me to join Paige. But so now that I've been doing it for about a year and a half, I'm not going to pretend that I don't eat ice cream, because I still do. Like, it is all about balance and making it work for your life and what your like specific goals are. But I've lost 40 pounds. I look way better than I did, the last time I was at this weight, because I'm doing it in a healthy way and like taking care of myself. So whenever people, like, there's a lot of people I know that are like, oh, it's all about calorie counting. That's all you have to do. It's like, well, you can have like, 1,200 calories in donuts, or you can have like 1,200 calories in, like protein and vegetables and fruits. And those 1,200 calories look so different. So for me, like, it's improved my health as far as like what I'm eating. And I've lost 40 pounds, but also like my mental health. I was very angry for a while. And a lot of it was just because I was so displeased with like how I had let my life become. And I would hate girls. Like, I would talk all the time like, oh my gosh, I hate this girl so much, and blah, blah, blah. And really all it boiled down to was I was jealous because those girls were comfortable in their own skin and comfortable enough to be confident and happy. And that wasn't me. So since like losing the weight and since joining like this whole group of women that are supportive and positive and like go-getters, I've noticed like that rub off on me, and like I just accept myself a lot more and love myself a lot more and have a significantly more positive body image. And I think that is just as important as losing the 40 pounds. So that's how it's really affected my health, like literally in all ways. So, Lauren?
Okay, so my story is a little bit different. I've always been the small girl. I'm only 5'3", wore extra small, small, size 0, all of that. And then I danced all the way through high school, and then in college I would occasionally go to the gym when a friend was like, come with me. And so throughout college I just ate what I wanted, drank what I wanted, did what I wanted. And then post college I got married and hit the real world. And then I was like, what happened? I had gained 20 pounds. My stomach was bloated and I just felt that uncomfortableness all the time. And actually someone close to me in my life said, you're just going to have a bloated tummy. Like there's no way you can have a flat stomach. And that's what I honestly thought. Like I look 6 months pregnant and that's just the way that I'm built. But obviously I've learned that that's not the case. I do have a flat tummy, and like Tiffany said, I still eat ice cream and pizza and all of those things. So I was didn't have to think about it, and then all of a sudden I did have to think about it. And it was affecting my health, and not just my physical health, but also my mental health. I was exhausted all the time. Like I could sleep 10 to 12 hours a night and wake up in the morning and be tired and think about when can I go to bed tonight. If I go to bed an hour earlier, I'll feel so much better. And now, which is crazy, since being on this, I call it my track, but since being on Paige's team and just doing all of this, I actually sleep less now, but I feel more energized and more energetic and just ready for the day. Also the confidence piece, I can go into my closet, grab anything I want out of it and wear it. I can wear a swimsuit. Like this weekend, we're going to the cabin that I don't have to worry about, do I look pregnant when I turn to the side? So just like those small things have helped a ton. And I didn't need to lose necessarily a ton of weight, but it's been really good for not only my physical health, but also my mental health.
And my story is different too. It's crazy. Everybody has a different story with health, but I want to lead with this picture because I think the difference is pretty incredible. But the weight is pretty much the same, which is crazy. My main thing is I've finally figured out how to have balance in a lifestyle that I had no idea how to do before. I was an athlete in high school and super active in college. And when I got married, I gained 10 pounds. And that does not sound like a lot, but for somebody who's short and has always been smaller, it felt like a lot. So I knew that I had to take control, and this was our first year of marriage. It was the December after we got married, and the only thing I knew to do to take care of myself was to count calories obsessively and run. So I spent lots of years running and doing that, and every single year I would notice I would give up. I had this cycle of starting in March because I wanted to be skinny for summer, and then when summer was over, I kind of stopped because I'm like, it's sweater season, and every single year I would just fluctuate 5 to 7 to 10 pounds. And I thought the reason I would do that was because I thought I had to be super restrictive in order to look good in a bikini. And then I got tired of being super restrictive and tired of feeling guilty and tired of running miles and miles and miles because I had a burger and french fries. And finally I had had enough. And when I signed up to coach, I had no idea how much it would change me, but I finally learned with consistent work how to have my Starbucks and pizza and still make progress and do the 80-20 rule basically. And beyond that, I used to run, and the reason I'd give it up a lot was because it started to get colder, in September and October, and I thought this is a great excuse to stop. And now that I can do it from home in my house and share it online and have the accountability, and like Tiffany said, have all of these women in my ear literally every single day with their positive mindsets and positive attitudes pushing me to do the same, I truly think that's the game changer. Because when I was doing it by myself, I believed the lies that I had to feel guilty. And when I was doing it by myself, I believed it was okay if I skipped because nobody else would know. But when I am surrounding myself with all of the encouraging and positive women on our team, like there's no way I can fail, and there's no way I can continue believing the lies and the negativity about my body. So I'd say, like, all in all, my mindset is what has truly changed the most. And the craziest thing about it for me is it started with my physical body. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know that eventually it led to emotional because I began counseling because of this. And then because of that journey, it also bled into my spiritual life. So every single part of my life and my health has been touched by being a coach. And I have seen that over and over and over with girls who are consistent and stick it out for the long haul. You're not going to feel like a changed person after your first program. But after a year of being in this community, you will feel like a changed person because there's power in numbers. And that's one of my favorite things about it. So I feel like I just preached a sermon. Next, we'll go to the why, which I think this is super interesting. Our whys when we very first started, and then what kind of keeps us going in our journeys and in coaching.
Okay, so the last time I told the story, I cried, so I'm going to do my best to not be that person tonight, but we'll see. So whenever I very first started, it was very much so for vain reasons. Like, I want to be able to wear my medium-sized shorts again, and I want to not have to be shopping in the plus size section kind of thing. So, and I kind of felt that way for a few months. And then eventually it was like, okay, well, I need to show up to be an example for others. And it's like, oh, okay, well. And then I started like slowly realizing how important this was, but it wasn't until this last summer that I realized like the real reason. And I think this real reason has always been there. It just kind of took a while for it to really like come to the forefront of my mind, because I knew taking care of myself was important. But the reason why it's so important to me, so whenever I was a senior in high school, my dad got really sick. He had lung cancer, and he was like seriously the most like hardworking person that I have ever met in my whole entire life. Like, he built our house, he owned his own business, and literally from sun up to sundown and a little bit longer, he was always working on something, always. So whenever he got sick, it was really difficult because he just wasn't himself. He wasn't as physically capable of doing the things that he had done his whole entire life, and like my whole entire life. So he ended up passing away, and it was just so crazy to see like the evolution of the lack of capability. And so for me, like, the word capable is like so important, because very recently I have also had some other people in my life just become incapable of doing things as simple as like walking up the stairs in our house. So just like little basic things that we take for granted. Sorry, I'm that person. Just like things that you take for granted of being able to be capable of doing. And so it's like, if you can physically do it, like, why not do it? Like, why not take care of yourself? Because if what is setting you apart from being capable and incapable is just the lack of taking care of yourself, then you need to get your life together. And so I saw myself going down this road of not being able to like fit in a roller coaster, or not being able to make it up a hill on campus at college because I was too winded to make it, to the top. And it's like I was seeing myself go down this path, and I want to eventually be that mom that can play with her kids, or that will coach the little league baseball team or the little league soccer or whatever. And it's like I was going down a road where I was going to be incapable and not be able to do those things. So for me, this has become so important because I was on that road, and I don't want to be that person. So I don't know. I feel like there's probably more. Sorry for getting all up in my feels, but it is so important to take care of yourself, and really be an example for the other people in your life, because everyone has someone in their life that could use this. So, Lauren.
Okay, so my why is a little bit different. Like I said, I've always been the small girl. And initially, my first transformation after my first program, when I put the before picture by the after picture, I was stunned. Like, I almost pooed in my pants. Like, I sent it to Paige, and I was like, this is not real. This was only 20 days. Like, how did this happen? And I was super excited. Like Tiffany said, she started for those main reasons of wanting to be thinner. I started because I wanted to be skinny, because I wanted to have more energy, because I wanted to look like those girls on Pinterest and Instagram. But it's come so much further than that, and so much farther than that. Like Paige said, it started as a physical journey and then emotional and spiritual. Before I started, I tried like personal development and different podcasts and stuff. But just like working out, I started something and then I quit it because I was like, this is not helping. It's not doing anything. There's no change happening. And with this community and with coaching, I'm still going a year and a half later because I'm still seeing changes and I'm still seeing growth and I'm still seeing the person that I want to be growing and happening. And like Tiffany said, without this community and without the accountability of coaching, maybe I would have quit like everything else. But because there's this team behind you and this team surrounding you all the time and just saying you can do it, we love you. Yes, it's a hard day, but you got this. Like, we are cheering for you in all the ugly and the beautiful and the celebrations and all of that is why I'm still here. And also, my husband and I want to have children one day. I want to be able to carry my children all the way to 9-10 months. I want to have a healthy labor and delivery, and I want to play with my kids. I want to be on the floor with them. I want to go to the park and run around and have energy and not have to say, Mom's tired, give me a break. Or I don't want to have to say, oh, I need a gallon of coffee to be able to function throughout the day. So my why has changed from being skinny to I want to make this a lifestyle and I want to be able to enjoy my life for as long as I possibly can. And I would never want to lose the community that I've gained through coaching.
So part of my why now is stories like this, because had I not started coaching, I'm not going to say that Tiffany and Lauren wouldn't have, because maybe they would have, but it just makes me know that I am doing what I love when I get to hear all of these success stories of how lives have been changed. Like, that is why I truly coach. But when I first started coaching, it was 100% for money. I can't even lie. I did not think I was in that bad of shape. I knew that I was kind of a yo-yo person, but I was like, I'm fine. Like, 5 pounds overweight or whatever, like, it's fine. I wasn't like in this spot of deep insecurity. I knew what to do. I just wasn't really doing it at the point that I was at. I just wanted to make money. And I was like, hey, if I can work out and get paid to do it, like, sweet. So I wanted to pay off debt. So I was like, I'm totally committed to this. But after 3 and 4 weeks of being in, I'm like, okay, this is the real deal. And especially when I made it through volleyball season, because I was coaching and I didn't give up on it, I was like, this is different. Because every other year, volleyball season, I would stop working out because I was too busy. And this is the first time that I ever made it all the way through. So the reason I continue now is because this is the only thing that's worked for me for over 2 years straight, like, truly. So I don't know why I would ever stop whenever this is the only thing that's worked consistently. Like, I've barely, like, I don't just skip workouts anymore because I know what they do for me. I don't just like go on binges during the weekend because I know how I feel when I finish doing that. And I have this community that pushes me forward. And I didn't have that before. Like, I have really great friends, but this community is different because it's like this constant positive force pushing you in the direction you want to go at all times, no matter what your goals are. Like, my goal is to pay off debt. I have people like checking in on me. Lauren's one of them. We talked about debt. We're in a race to pay off debt. Like, none of my friends from college were doing that with me. And my mentor, she's constantly checking up on me and asking me like how those goals are going. Same with like something like reading my Bible. Like, I wasn't doing that consistently before that and before this. And now I have women in my life who are consistently pushing me to do that. And it's the same with working out, and it's the same with eating well. Like, I have all of these women who have these different strengths who are pushing me in different areas to just be my best, yet also always giving me grace if I don't show up. You know what I mean? Like, there's just nothing better than that. So those two things, and then my belief in what this does, which goes back to the two of them. Like, I know this can change lives, and why in the world wouldn't I share it with people? So I believe so much in what we do that I just love that about my job. And then the obvious reason for me is I have a brand new life. Like, I never expected it to turn into this. I said for a year straight, I'm going to do this, but I would never do it full time. I would never, ever, ever do that. And here I am, because this is the path that God has taken me on. And at this point, one of my biggest whys right now for like why I'm going to spend my days doing this is because I want to help other women find the freedom that I have found with coaching. And Madison, I'm just going to throw you under the bus from earlier, but she was going through my stories and she commented something about wanting what I had or something like that. And I'm like, the thing is, anybody can do this. Like, it took me 2 years of really hard work of teaching and doing this. And anybody can make a full-time income doing this if they're willing to put in the work. And whether that's if you want to do this full-time like me, or keep your current full-time job and just have a second income, a part-time job that you make another full-time income on, like that is also life-changing and can like completely transform your family and your financial situation and pay off debt. Like I just know there is so much potential because of what it's done for us. Like I did not expect to match my teaching income, and I didn't expect to go full-time, but this is where it's led me. So now I just want to help other people do the same thing. Okay, so we have 3 last topics to talk about. These are going to be a little less heartfelt and a little more like, this is what we do as coaches. So I'm going to switch it on you guys, Lauren and Tiffany, because I realized we talked about time management before what we do, and they're probably like, what do you do? So Lauren, you start with like, what do we do on a daily basis? Tiffany, follow up with time management, and then I'm going to tell you guys what it's going to take. Like if you're like, okay, I'm in, I'm going to tell you the investment and what it takes. So Lauren, take it away.
Okay. So the work as a coach is not hard. Like what you have to do as a coach is not hard. It is about being consistent, about showing up. It's about pushing past those challenges that pop up. For instance, people telling you, no, I don't want to join you. Not hitting certain goals that you set up for yourself with coaching and pushing past that. So as a coach, there are 4 things that you should be doing every single day or every single week as a coach. So the first thing that you're doing as a coach is you are working on you. So that means you're working out, you are drinking your pre and post workout drinks, you're showing up every single day, and you're showing other people that you're showing up. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you are inviting other people. So you're sharing your story, you're sharing what you're doing and why you're doing it. And then third, my favorite, is you're celebrating others. So you're celebrating your team, you're celebrating those people that said, yep, I want to try this out with you. And then you're sharing their successes. So that's my favorite, is the celebrating. And then the fourth is that personal development. And I tried a ton of personal development before I started coaching. But with coaching, it keeps you accountable. And I learned that the personal development has to fit you where you are. So if it's something that you're doing great at, then you probably shouldn't be doing that personal development. And that's what coaching has taught me. So those 4 things you're doing consistently, you're showing up. It's not hard, but it takes consistency, and it takes pushing past those challenges that pop up.
Okay, so now how the heck do we fit this into our life? So just a little background. I am a teacher, and in the last year alone, I have moved across the country. I've planned a wedding, gotten married, back on the other side of the country, went on a honeymoon. I am a teacher. I coach track. And then even before that, like I had moved a few other times. Like if anyone is busy, like I feel the pain 100%. So the way you manage your time is going to be a little bit different for everybody. I know that there are some girls that will sit down and work for an hour and a half straight, but that is just not how that can work in my life. Some girls will set an alarm and they're like, oh, it's 5:00 p.m. Okay, let me sit down and work for a solid hour and a half. For me, it's kind of all about just fitting it in my pockets and just sticking with the routine. That's the one reason I'm happy to be going back to school this week, is because now I have like a set routine of I get up every single morning at the same time. I get my workout in, I go to school, I come home from school, and whenever I get home, I have a chill hour. I have a whole hour that I'm not going to sit on my phone or do anything, just maybe something around the house, talk to Ben, and then I will do a little like 30 minutes of checking in with my ladies, 30 minutes later of checking in with new people who have shown interest in joining me. So it's all about just fitting it in your own schedule, but every day can look different. It doesn't have to be sitting down at a desk for an hour and a half, because I'm going to tell you, I worked just a smidge while I was on my honeymoon, and it wasn't overwhelming. It wasn't like I was sitting in the hotel room not enjoying my honeymoon, I still definitely enjoyed my honeymoon. So anyone can make this work in their life.
Okay, I want to touch just a little bit on both of the things that they said. I did build my business to full-time while I was teaching, and just like Tiffany said, I was working in pockets of my day. I'm not the type to sit down and crank it out. I would wake up at 5 to get my workout in, and that might seem crazy. I'm not a morning person, but I promise you it was amazing and life-changing. So I'd work a little bit from like 5 to 6, and what that means is I'm working out. I am responding to messages. If people like my post or get into my inbox, I'm like, hey, do you want to work out with me? And if they say yes, I'm hooking them up with my meal plans and my workouts, and then I'm going to help them through the meal plans and workouts when my next group starts. So that's what it kind of looks like. And it's amazing. Like, it's crazy that we get paid to do that. So if you're listening to all of this and you're like, okay, tell me how to get in. It is extremely simple to get started, and your daily actions, you've heard all of them. We work out, we post it, we talk to our friends and family about it, and we help people see how this can fit into their lives and seriously help them transform their health. So if you were like, I want to commit tomorrow, it is going to be an investment of $160. And the cool thing about that is your investment is for your products and your workouts. So that $160 gets you Beachbody On Demand, which has 1,200 workouts to choose from. It's like Netflix. It has meal plans. You're going to get Shakeology or pre and post workout, and a meal guide. That's what you're going to get, plus the business starter kit. So I actually have never opened mine. I don't even know what's in it because I had my mentor and she helped me through. But you're going to get that in case you want it. When you do sign up, like if you signed up with me, I'm your mentor. If you sign up with Tiffany, she's your mentor. If you sign up with Lauren, she's your mentor. That's kind of how it works. And then every month after that, there is an investment. But the cool thing is it's your product. So I invest $120 monthly. 97 of that is my product, which is my shake. And 15 of it is my coach office fee. So the cool thing about that is, like, you don't have to have a closet full of products. Beachbody takes care of all products, all shipping and handling, and you don't have to track all of that stuff or go to the post office ever, because that would be super overwhelming. And to make profit, and this was the thing that I really latched onto in the beginning, you only have to help 3 people every single month. That's it, and you're in the green. And there are no minimums, there are no quotas. The only thing that happens if you don't help them is you aren't making profit. And if at any point, I would hope that you wouldn't want to quit. It makes me so sad when people quit. They do, because some people just whatever. But there is no like fee for quitting or anything. You could try it out for 6 months, and if you're like, this is not for me, then it's not for you. But I'm telling you, it's the best job on earth. And then lastly, when you do sign up, you have support and you have a mentor, like I mentioned before. If you sign up with me or any of us, we are your direct mentor, and we're there for questions. We've all been in it for a year or longer, and we can show you the ropes of how this works. Not only that, but you have our whole team, and there are a lot of us. So if we don't know the answer, somebody else does. And not only that, the Beachbody community as a whole, I don't know if any of you were following any of us during Summit, but it is such an incredible experience to just be surrounded by people like the community you hear us talk about. 20,000 of those people in the same room, or stadium actually, because we had to be in a stadium. But it's just an incredible community, an incredible opportunity, and there's such room for income and growth in this opportunity. So that's kind of all we had. I feel really good about our time. We're not even to 45 minutes yet. So does anybody have questions about anything we said tonight, or specific questions for any of us?
And if you're scared to say it, you can type it out in the box.
Or you can always process and then message us tomorrow.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I think my biggest thing, fear, I guess, because I eat dinner with Dan like all the time. So I guess, like, how do your significant others do the meal stuff with you guys, or do they eat on their own, or I don't know.
Can I answer this one?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I'm married. My husband was super, like, not sure about this. He was like, Lauren, do you really want to do this? It seems weird, like, whatever. And still to this day, a year and a half later, he's worked out with me maybe 2 or 3 times. He hasn't worked out at all, like really. But he has actually lost 25 pounds, and that's just because of nutrition.
I don't know that.
So I do all of the grocery shopping, and he cooks, I cook. The meal planning is together, but just because of what we have in our fridge and our cabinet, he's lost 25 pounds. So he eats what's here.
Madison, Dan's a healthy guy, right? Like
He is really healthy,
Okay.
but he just eats like huge portions. And I
Yeah.
remember, I think it's like portion controlled.
It is, but it's
Yeah, so that's why I'm like worried.
Yeah.
I guess.
It's such normal food. My husband is also a healthy guy. He does not necessarily follow the exact plan that I follow, but he eats what I cook, and it's normal. It's like I'll have, if I want grilled pork chops and mashed potatoes and green beans, like that's something we were eating before, but I might just prepare the stuff a little bit differently. Like I used to like really put a ton of bacon grease in my green beans, and I don't do that anymore. Just like little bitty switches. And I still make, like, we have tacos once a week and we have pizza. Like, it's such a normal meal plan that literally anybody could do it. And anybody who isn't a health nut, like, I still eat on plan even when I have people over for like any meal, because it is that normal. Like, nobody be like, oh, this is health food, because it's such normal stuff that you're probably already eating. It's just changing up maybe the way you prepare it and possibly the portions, and maybe even eating more than you eat now.
Ben and I are a little bit different. So he does 100%. So we recently got married, but he does 100% of the cooking. We like joint grocery shop, and we kind of discuss what we want to eat. But most of the time, if he wants something that is like not as healthy, he just kind of cooks something separate for himself. But most of the time, like, we're eating the same thing. He just might add an extra scoop of sour cream or a big scoop of cheese, whereas I won't. So it's like we make it kind of, I guess, basic enough, and then we put our own plate together, if that makes sense.
Yep. Those all helped.
My husband has never portion sized.
Yeah, Ethan doesn't really either. He doesn't care. He's going to eat until he's full. And another thing we do, like tonight I made Mexican, and he will usually add more carbs to his meals than I do. Like, I bought chips for tonight that I didn't put in my meal, but he has to have chips with Mexican food. So I bought him chips, and I just didn't eat them. Just little things like that.
Okay.
That's a good question, though. That's a hesitation a lot of people have. Any other questions out there?
I have a question.
Yes.
So how many people would you say that you met and you encouraged in person versus online? Because all my family and all my friends live in Missouri. I don't know if all of you live in Missouri where you guys live, but I moved to Indiana after I graduated college. So like everybody that I could ever possibly know is in Missouri. But I do know that people that are doing this, they like meet people in person and then they, get them to join that way. But I know also, of course, with social media and everything else, you can just get people to join and help them through online. So did you guys find it to where you found more people in person, or did you help more people through social media?
Personally, I've helped one person in person, and everybody else has been a phone call or social media.
I'm kind of the other way. Almost, well, not everyone, but probably about 75% of the people that I have helped, I know in real life, but we got reconnected through social media, if that makes sense. So, I mean, it's kind of like
first
both.
too.
Yeah.
My first one, I knew everybody. I just reconnected with them online because they were like, what are you doing? So.
And most of mine have been on social media too. Some of them have been like my sister's friends. I would say a handful are people that I don't know, like they're complete strangers. And then some have been like close friends, and then some have been from like high school and reconnected. So I've had kind of a mixed bag too, but I haven't made one sale in person.
There is a girl on my team. She lost like a lot of weight, like 70 pounds, like a very significant amount of weight. and a girl that she worked with had noticed, and that's how they got connected. It had zero to do with social media. They weren't even friends on social media. And so for them, it was like totally real life. So, I mean, it goes with, any way you want it to, really.
Okay, I lied. My first person I signed up, it was a teacher at my school, and she noticed. She was like, "Your arms look different. What are you doing?"
One of my clients, she lives on the lake, and she has summer neighbors. And she said when they got down there this summer, they're like, "You're ripped. What have you been doing?" I'm like, that is the best non-skill victory I've ever heard. That's awesome. Any other questions? We've kept you for about 45 minutes now, so I don't want to keep you forever, but I definitely want to answer anything else you're wondering.
I have another question. Just because the one time I bought it and then realized you needed like equipment to buy, so I was like, oh crap, I can't afford all this equipment, so I returned it. But how much like investment up front to get like the dumbbells or bands or whatever equipment you need to do those types of workouts would you say you've invested?
I haven't. Let me look. I can tell you exactly what I bought at first because it's linked on my Amazon. It's not very much. I know that.
For me, I kind of got things progressively. So it was not, I just got what I needed for the very first program I was doing. And then like, as I've done different programs, my collection has built, but I mean, I haven't kept that good a track of it, but you can find stuff on Facebook Marketplace or Goodwill or whatever.
I got those for $36.
Okay.
They're not very big, and I've had to add to my collection. It's 3s, 5s, and 8s, but I'm telling you, with 21-day fix, it was just fine.
I started doing a girl showed me Jillian Michaels workout videos, and I was using 5-pound. I've never done a workout video though, and I did.
I've never done that.
And I wanted to die.
Yeah, I promise there'll be enough.
Yeah.
Honestly, my first workout, I used like bleach and something else because I didn't have bleach either.
That was something that really attracted me to your page. You were using peanut butter. You were using a giant jar of peanut butter and some other jug. And I'm like, okay, what is this girl doing? Like,
I was just making it work, And I think it's important to say that, I don't know if Tiffany mentioned this, that she followed me for an entire year before she signed up to coach. And then Lauren, how long did you follow me before you signed up? 4 months before you signed up to coach. And I followed my mentor like 4 months-ish before I signed up and decided to coach. And I almost unfollowed mine because I was like, get a life. Stop working out on your own. And then I'm like, oh, I get it now. So everybody has fears before they start.
It's so worth it because, like, in the end, I think what really drove me to joining was like, what's the worst that can happen? If I dedicate myself, what's the worst that can happen? I lose a little bit of weight. Okay, that doesn't sound so bad.
Yeah.
And every fear I had was like not, now looking back, it was kind of ridiculous. Like they were just excuses. And also I said, okay, Paige, let's just try this out because I literally have nothing to lose.
Right. I think one of my favorite things that I forgot to mention is I've always been a girl's girl and I love having sleepovers, and you assume that stops when you're an adult, but when you're in the coach world, it absolutely will never stop because we look for reasons to get together at Airbnbs in random locations. So that is honestly one of my favorite parts because it's just like how weird, that we meet people online and then we can go to Indianapolis and stay in an Airbnb or not stay there.
Or not an Airbnb.
Right. Or a hotel if that's safer. But I don't know, it's just so incredible. So we're coming up on an hour. Please, please, please make sure, follow us on Instagram if you want to. If you're not, Lauren and Tiffany, can you drop your Instagrams and I'll drop mine too. And if you have any questions, definitely let us know. Think on it. Get back to us. I'm sure we'll be following up with you in the coming days to see what you thought. But we really, really